So today we are going to talk about still lifes and why we do still lifes even though they're boring and stupid and we hate them and they're frustrating. I hate still lifes are one of my least favorite things in the world to do. Period. Hands down. Hate them. But they are a really, really important tool. They are your problem solver. They are your technique builder, your skill builder. It's a stupid, boring, monotonous way to achieve the goal of where you want to be. And we hate them. It's the worst. But you'll learn to hate them a little less once you see your progress. Once you see like, oh, I did that. I had this issue. I was having a problem figuring out how to do dramatic lighting. I was having a problem figuring out how to do flowers, how to do insert thing here. And the more you practice with still lifes, it'll just get better. Not fun, but kind of a mandatory, or in my experience, getting to where I want to be, like I still do them. I still will use them to try and figure things out. A few things to note when you're doing still lifes. They can be of anything. Like I can just grab let's see, some of the things on my desk right now. I always like to do various sizes so I can practice scale. But they, like, you can just grab, these are a few things on my desk right now. You can set them, as far away or as close as you want, and then you just start doodling. And you can do this on a sketchbook so that you can see how far you come. That's one thing that I have done that's been very, very helpful for me. In some corner, kind of out of the way, I will set up a still life, and I will sketch it out and play around and doodle with it, and I'll do it a few times. Sometimes at different times of the day, sometimes with different lighting, with really dramatic lighting, with really open lighting, open, airy, natural lighting. And I will do that in my sketchbook over the next few days. And you can see immediately where you're getting it right, where you're getting it where you want it to be. It's the repetition is what builds those skills. And that's why, like, you'll... I don't know if you've ever seen on TV shows or in a movie to where there's a group of art students sitting around one still life, and they're just drawing it over and over again. When I first started my drawing one-on-one classes, we would work on the same still life for like 6 weeks, and every day you're drawing the same still life, and it's just a circle of chairs around it, and then you pick a different position. Every class, a different, closer, further back, or a different style. Why is this important? Why are these exercises important? Because, like I'd mentioned before, the repetition builds your skills. The more you start to look at things, this is going to sound so cheesy, but with that artist's eye, you'll see just how complex everything is. Like if you go outside and you look at a tree and look at the leaves, and are the leaves green? Yes, they're green. There are about 40 different shades of green in there. You start to see the subtle differences of like how the light hits things and to make it look like there's volume, how perspective, putting things forward in front of the other, how that changes size and shape, and all of these little details which allow our eyes to understand what it's looking at. Those all start to come into shape, and the more you see it, the more you can render it, and the more information you're giving to a viewer so that they can see your image more coherently. I'm hoping that makes sense. I don't know. Also, these do not, when you're doing still lifes, they don't have to be photorealistic. They don't have to, like, they can be super crude. They can be cartoony. They can be like, there's no rules onto what your final drawings have to look like at all. Like, it's just that the more, especially when you're just starting to play around with learning these skills, when you're just kind of building these, this is where you kind of find, again, cheesy terms, but your voice, your style, like that style of what you create that makes what you do look different than what someone else does. And that comes from just really working with learning those skills. And the more comfortable you are at just looking at something and drawing it, then the more of you, like your style, is going to show through that. Because if you're just like first learning something, you're so focused on getting it to look the way you want or figuring out those skills that your style isn't going to really come through. Your art's personality, think of it as like your personality. When you are like, let's say you're at a new job and you're really just trying to learn the job and trying to focus and do what you want to do and in this job, you're not really being yourself. You're focused on getting it right and being successful. Once you after you've been at that job for a few months and you're really comfortable there and you're really comfortable with like what's expected of you and your skills or whatever, that's when your personality really starts to come through and you're comfortable. You're just being yourself and your natural you is just in the room. It's kind of the same way with art. When you're learning these things, you're so focused on the learning process that you don't, like, your flair and your voice isn't going to come through yet, because that's not where your focus is. Once you get really comfortable, that's when your own style of work is going to start really shining through, and to where it will look a drawing, like if you were to draw a Kleenex box, like this Kleenex box, it's going to look very different than if I draw a Kleenex box, and they could both be rendered beautifully or whatever with the same tools and the same drawing or painting tools or whatever, but they're going to look very different. One's going to look like you did it and one's going to look like I did it, because we're comfortable drawing it, so we can just do whatever we want to do with it, and that's where your style is going to come through. But your style isn't really going to have a chance to shine if your skills are still in those learning stages. So that's why we do all these boring skill building little exercises, so that we can get very comfortable in our medium and comfortable with our tools, so that our own style begins to emerge and have a real voice in the room. That's why we do it. It's boring and dumb and we hate it, but it's one of those, it's just one of those boring, dumb things that you got to do in order to get to the place that you want to be. I would love to see if y'all actually do try, poke your hands at still lifes. It can be of anything. It can be drawn on anything. It can be done in pencil, in pen, with paints, with watercolors, anything. Anything you want to get better with, use those tools and practice. And it can be of anything right in front of you. Like I said, I just grabbed what was on my desk, set it there, and I will do a little still life, and so you can see a quickie one that I would do. That is all. And more soon.